This is a quick tour around Google Forms. So we'll start very beginning. This is where we put our title. Any title you type in here, we'll kind of jump back over to here as well. This is where we have the different questions we can add. Notice we have a bunch of different options for that, um, depending on what type of information that we want to collect. There are some different things here. We can make a question required or not by simply toggling this on and off. If it is, highlighted like that, it is turned on. The question is required to move on. Here, there's some options as well. We can type in the description, and then we can actually conditionally go to different sections of the form based on the answers. If we change this to a short answer, we have the option for response validation, and that makes it so you have to put in something that matches the question type, the validation type that we have in there. You can always delete a question and duplicate a question if you like it. Other things we can do, we can add more questions. We can import questions from other forms that we have already made. This is adding title and description, which is essentially just a text option. Here is adding an image. We can also add images right in the question as well. And if we have multiple choice, we can also add images in for those. You have the option to add videos. At this point in time, there are only videos from YouTube, but you can embed any video that is able to be embedded from YouTube in the form. And then this is the extra section, so we can add more sections to this. Up at the top here, we have kind of three different settings. So these are the questions where we're going to edit the form. The responses section is where we see all of the information that has come in. So normally, if there's been some information filled in, we have all that here. There's some text. There will be summaries for text, some graphs, things like that, so you can visualize it. Also, if we click on this button, it gives us the option to create a spreadsheet where it takes all the form information and dumps that over into a spreadsheet. It's very helpful as you're looking through the information, and you can kind of manipulate and analyze that data that you have for whatever purposes you need. You can also link that to an existing spreadsheet. So if you have one place where you'd like to keep it all, you can do that as well. We have the settings. There's a couple different options we have in here. Unless this is for a class, you're probably not going to want to make it a quiz. But responses, this is pretty helpful. You have an option to collect email addresses. Now, if this is toggled on and it is restricted to our domain, that will basically keep it so the if the email addresses are automatically collected. If the restriction is taken off, it will just prompt people to type in an email address that they want to have the information kind of associated with. You have the option to send response receipts or receipts for a response, which is basically the information that the person put in will be emailed to them, so they have record of it. You can go in and edit. This allows people to go in and edit their responses, and this limits their number of responses to one, so they can only enter it one time. The presentation information is here as well. Not a lot of this does a whole lot. But you can change the confirmation message. So if you wanted to, thank them differently for filling out the form, or send them information to something else, you could do that there. This sets up your form defaults, which is simply, what you want kind of turned on normally. So if you want to say, I always want to collect email addresses, you can toggle this on. If you want questions to be required by default, you can turn this on. But those are kind of the options we have there. The information up here, these are add-ons. This is a little bit more advanced, but these are some extras that you can add to the form, and this will allow you to do some kind of unique special things there. Customizing the theme will allow you to choose a header for the top of this, so it's an image of some sort. You can pick from the pre-populated stuff that Google gives you. You can upload images, and you can pull in some photos as well. If you do upload things, I will recommend trying out Canva. Canva.com will allow you to make custom headers that are really, they look pretty nice. Then you can choose the theme color, the background color, and what type of font style you want. So there's only four options, but they, pretty much run the gamut: basic, really decorative, formal, and playful. This option right here is the preview option. If you ever want to see what your form will look like as someone is taking it, you can click this button and it'll show you what the form is going to look like. This is the undo button. This is the redo button, in case you want to look at any of that. When your form is ready, you will click send, and then it'll give you options. You can send it via email, but you need to know everyone's emails to do this. So you'd have to type everything in there. Um, Over here, you have the link. Now, this is a little bit more versatile. You can do that, and it does give you the nice little copy button. So you click that. The third option is embedding. Since most people don't have their own websites, we're probably not going to embed many forms in there. Then we come over to here to the more options. This is where you can make a copy of the form to either give to somebody else, manipulate to make it different for what you want, or just so you have a second copy of it. This will allow you to get a pre-filled link. So you can send this out with some of the information already filled in for people. If that is something that you like to do, you can print them. Adding collaborators is the same way you would add or you would share things with people in other Google products. This allows other people to edit the form. The script editor is really advanced. I don't recommend really anyone doing that unless you feel really, really comfortable writing basically code, is what that is. And then add-ons, this is where you'd get those kind of extras that you would add onto the form. So that is the basic rundown of how Google Forms works. Uh, a lot of this comes from trial and error and playing around with things, but there are a lot of different options that you can have to customize your Google Forms.